Talk a little bit about air seeder opener maintenance, and one of the biggest problems we see is just neglect over time. People aren't taking care of them, unawareness of what's wearing out on their equipment, and just lack of maintenance. So one of the first things we see is your discs, and with your discs, we like to say, some guys say when the belt is gone. What the book actually says is 1 inch worn away off the side of the disc. So if you take it and you measure from the center of your hub here and come out. This is a brand new disc, so it measures just under 6.5. What John Deere says is 5 1/8 is when it's time to do discs. Recently, we came up with a Pro Series opener that is new probably 3 years ago now, but still a lot of guys aren't aware about it. Some of the big changes on it are seed boots. This is an old 90 series opener seed boot. If you put them side by side, it's kind of hard to tell from this distance, but the new Pro Series is actually a little bit thinner to follow in the seed trench a lot better. And big wear points we see on these is they advertise in no-till conditions, it wears out on the bottom here. What we actually see in conventional till, the way we run them, is this actually gets down to paper thin from running alongside your disc, so it wears out. So that's when you know when it's time to do boots, is usually about the same time it's time to do discs. Another update with the Pro Series opener is the seat tabs. You can see this is just the traditional 90 series seat tabs. It's square, it does the job, but it doesn't fall in the trench. So what this does is it sits in here, gets right along tight inside the boot, and it fits in your seed trench better, allowing you to drop the seed exactly where it needs to be. Another thing on these new Pro Series is we have a serrated closing lid. What this does, different from the smooth, is when you have trash on top, it, instead of just piling it all on top and having all that trash for your seed to try come up through, it takes it and tries to spread it out, chopping up all the debris on top. Another update with the Pro Series opener was our closing wheel, or our press wheel. Now we have a flexible press wheel. It follows the trench. It does a lot better job. And one big thing we updated was it's a little bit bigger. We put a bigger bearing in there too. So sometimes these bearings used to go out. We have, instead of a single roller bearing now, we have a double roller bearing. So it'll be more rugged and able to last you longer. Big things with Pro Series opener, we see you go down from 3 grease zerks to 1, so that's huge. They used to say every day, crawl underneath your air seeder, grease all 3 grease zerks, and that's a pain for a lot of people, and that's why it gets looked over because they don't want to crawl under and do it. So now with the new Pro Series, it's just the 1 grease zerk for your gauge wheel up and down, and no more going under there every time. It's all sealed bushings for your closing wheel and your press wheel. So they say it's a yearly grease, one time, that is it. There is a retrofit kit available. You'd have to contact your John Deere dealers for parts. What you get with that is you get the new seed boot, the new press wheel, and the closing wheel, and the new seed tab along with an updated spring that is supposed to be better. One thing to note with the upgrade from your old air seeder to your new one is you still have all 3 grease zerks, which is kind of a big upside to go into the newer style. So if you do an upgrade kit, you still have all 3 grease zerks. And with these new ones, they actually have a flag pin that goes through to bolt them on instead of a bolt. So with the old ones, you could grab this and it would rock back and forth. You'd have a lot of excess movement. With this new flag pin, it doesn't move at all. But if you keep the retrofit kit, it still has the bolt. Big thing with the older ones is keep an eye on everything. Grease, but some things don't grease too much. If you grease your closing wheel too much, you can actually lock up that closing wheel to the point you can pull up on it with a forklift and not even be able to move it, so you have to take it apart, dig all the grease out, and free it up. So make sure you can grab it, move it up and down, and everything moves freely. But with that, I think that's everything we have for air seeder maintenance.